Come, let us grow in the grace and knowledge of Him who saves us by His blood. Let us put down roots to deep water. Let us drink from the fountain of life. And we shall be like trees planted by the waters, planted by rivers wide and deep. Trees green and fruitful, bearing fruit of love in the vineyard of the King. Come, let us grow in the grace and knowledge of God's Spirit by which we're sealed, studying the riches of His word. Let us eat of the bread that He gives, and we shall be like trees planted by the waters, planted by rivers wide and deep. Trees green and fruitful, bearing fruit of love in the vineyard of the King. Come, let us grow in the grace and knowledge of He who calls us by His Son. Let us gather now at His table. Let us feast on the richest of food. And we shall be like trees planted by the waters, planted by rivers wide and deep. Trees green and fruitful, bearing fruit of love in the vineyard of the King. Good morning. We are live we are. Waiting for things to generate. Good morning, CJ. He joins me in the background. We wait for things to populate. CJ, could you, when you get a moment, can you share this over to the Readers Chat group page? Let's make sure you're ready, just in case. Shaya, if you're coming on to watch, you might want to do so and start doing tagging. As we wait, I apologize for being late. O'Shea and I were in the middle of recording on his intro when I suddenly realized what time it was. And I'm sure that none of us have ever considered that at one point or at the never ever done that, right, CJ? Never ever started late because we suddenly realized how we were in the middle of something, suddenly realized what time it was. adding in the questions here just to get us ready to go. Hey, we got one watcher. Welcome, welcome. And it says, no, it definitely wasn't live 2 hours ago. That's for sure, O'Shea. Are you up and at 'em, buddy? You're looking a little tired this morning. You didn't get to bed late, did you? Okay. Thank you, CJ, for sharing that. O'Shea has done some tagging. Don't forget Vera. O'Shea. Vera, Craig. 1 hour and 5 minute lesson, huh? Gonna have to trim those. All righty. Got 2 more questions to type up. I hate typing. Did you know that? I hate typing. All right. Hello, Laura. How are you doing? You have been tagged, yes. CJ knows that I hate typing. All right, we're going to go ahead and put our time on the clock for meditation. 1 minute. Again, Laura, welcome to our daily devotion that we have started. We start this at 10 o'clock, or try to start at 10 o'clock Eastern. Today, I apologize, I'm late. O'Shea and I were working on his intro for his noontime nuggets, and we were recording some audio, and I suddenly realized, oh no, it's 9:12. I've got to be live. I was supposed to be live 12 minutes ago. And so we hustled up and shut down the recording and got in here. And so now here we are, starting way late, but this should only take us about 15-20 minutes. And we hope that you will be edified and enjoy the time spent in our devotion with God. We are following the book, the plan from the I Grow Daily Devotional book, authored by Philip Johnson, produced by FocusPress.org. And you can find these books at FocusPress.org if you would like to purchase one and follow along on your own. Good morning, Vera. And we're going to put 1 minute on the clock. And as you go through this next minute, once I start the time, let's spend this minute thinking on your favorite aspect of God's creation. Your favorite aspect of God's creation. This is lesson 3, by the way. So, 1 minute. Here we go. One minute thinking on your favorite aspect of God's creation. And I know there are so many aspects of God's creations that I enjoy, right? I got to change my my timer tone. Our text today is going to be from Matthew chapter 2. I'm not always used to having a tech guy here, but from Matthew chapter 2. Do something here real quick. Come on. There we go. It is very hard to pick a favorite aspect. Whether birds, bees, sunlight, snow. I love that, CJ. Pay attention right now, YouTube. We gave credit. Let's read Matthew chapter 2, shall we? 4 minutes for our reading. Now, when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of the days of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. And they said unto him, In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently at what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem, and said, Go, and search diligently for the young child, and when ye have found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth unto Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night, and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt have I called my son. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremy the prophet, saying, In Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation and weeping and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and would not be comforted, because they are not. But when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeareth in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, and go into the land of Israel, for they are dead which sought the young child's life. And he arose and took the young child and his mother, and came into the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus did reign in Judea in the room of his father Herod, he was afraid to go thither. Notwithstanding, being warned of being warned of God in a dream, he turned aside into the parts of Galilee, and came and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophets, He shall be called a Nazarene. Matthew chapter 2. Perfect timing, too, because that was 10 seconds from the end. All right. Vera offers up this comment. Actually, O'Shea went and offered up this comment, says, I went with fresh air. That's probably because the neighbor has been cleaning out the cattle lots there across the road, and he's been smelling fresh country air. And city folk might not understand that reference, but Vera says, I went more broad and focused on how much she loves the beauty and design of all the creation, and how it is all connected and works together. That is a fascinating aspect of it. Let us reflect now for the next 3 minutes on, we have 5 questions, so I'm going to give us 5 minutes rather than 3, because to just give 3 minutes doesn't do the questions justice. So for 5 minutes now, think on these questions, and we'll pop up the question as we go through it. For the first question, if you knew you had only 5 days left to live, how would you spend those 5 days? And again, we do welcome comments. If you wish to put it up in there, we'll go ahead and we'll discuss it, or we'll talk about it. We'll give a nod to you. If not, then that's fine. Just reflect in yourself. If you knew you only had 5 days left to live, how would you spend those 5 days? As you contemplate that question, number 2, why don't you do these things now? Why don't you do these things now that you were just thinking about doing in 5 days, if you knew you only had 5 days left to live? Vera offers up that she would share the gospel and plead with others to come to heaven with her and also find ways to serve others in meaningful ways. And a lot of this, aren't we already doing it, right? CJ says, with friends and family and in serving my Lord. Question number 3. How did God work in the lives of people in Matthew 2? See you, O'Shea. Have a good day at work, bud. How did God work in the lives of people in Matthew 2? Question number 4. How does God work in the lives of people today? These are some deep thoughts here to be thinking on. How does God work in the lives of people today? Ha ha ha. Nailed that one right on the head, Vera. He works through us, his servants, right? That's why he told us to do what we are to do. Romans 12 comes to mind when you think of that one. Isn't it amazing that we get to serve God by serving other people, by carrying out his will? Through his word and his people. Number 5, how would you describe the faith of Joseph? Poor CJ's having to jump between the questions and the comments as he posts them up. He's like, don't worry about it. I got it handled. I'm multitasking, multi-talented here. CJ, we appreciate you. Love you a lot, buddy. How would you describe the faith of Joseph from Matthew chapter 2? Vera says, yes, what an honor to be used for the Lord by serving others in the way his word teaches us to. It's a privilege. It's not it's not a burden. It's supposed to, Jesus says my burden is light. And this is a joy. This is something we should be honored and loving to do. Looking for ways, just anxious to find ways to please our God. All right, as we go into the record section, we have 3 questions here for us to record. So we do have 3 minutes on the clock. CJ says, great. And considering chapter 1, it adds to chapter 2 regarding Joseph's faith. Joseph's faith was really was a great one. Notice that God came to him in a dream in both places, and actually all 3 times that he appeared to Joseph in Matthew 1, Matthew, and twice in Matthew 2. And he says, Joseph, do this. And what does Joseph do? Immediately does it. Immediately. That's great faith. That's a man of character. What an awesome pattern for a young man to follow as he's growing. And no wonder that Jesus, as he was sitting at the feet, as he was being taught by Joseph, grew in favor and grace and favor with God and man. Let's record 3 questions here, the answers to. 3 minutes. First minute is, how can these verses help you in your relationships with your family? As we read through Matthew chapter 2, And you see the faith of Joseph. You see actually even the faith of the wise men who, on following a star, seek out after the King of Kings and offer up treasure to him. How can these verses help you in your relationships with your family? Question number 2: how will these verses help you build a stronger relationship with Jesus? Vera says when we seek God and His will first, we can then serve our family better. By putting God in the proper place, which is on the throne of our lives, first in everything that we do, uh, our relationships then take their proper place as secondary to God, and His will is what defines how we interact with them, right? CJ says, be ready and willing to lead them all to the call of God, just like Joseph. That is our ultimate goal, is to make them not to make them doubly family, not just family physical, but family spiritual. How now? Question number 3: write out an action step you will take in your life based on your reading today. And we begin that with, I will. I think I jumped one there, didn't I, CJ? Question number 3 becomes question number 4. Oh, write out an action step you'll take in your life based on your reading today. And in reality, what Vera said is also the same. It kind of answers number 2. How will these verses help us build a stronger relationship with Jesus? Because we are seeking God and His will first, then our relationship with Jesus improves to the point of, it becomes stronger each and every day, each and every opportunity we have to interact with our family and indeed with Jesus. So, write out an action step that you will take in your life based on your reading today. CJ says, I will be willing to seek God's will and not my own. So we have an overall goal. So how are we going to do that? How are we going to accomplish that today, CJ? That'll bring it, nail it down, right? That's a food for thought one right there. How can we nail it down to steps? Because we have an overall goal. We will be willing to seek God's will and not our own. What does that look like in our daily life? What does it look like today? How do we accomplish this goal? Like I was talking yesterday in the lesson, or at the end there before I had to jump off, um, we have in project plan management. When I went through and took that in college, they tell us to start off with as broad a goal, a biggest picture as you can, and then narrow them down into easily manageable steps or tasks to achieve that goal. We must be willing, and we have to be able to recognize, okay, is this my will or is it God's will that's playing the active part in my decision here today? No, that's okay. That's these are designed for you, and I'm not asking you to share personal information or anything. This is designed to get you to think how you will achieve this goal. Okay, and it's great to have an overarching, goal. But what the author is trying to get us to do is nail it down into small little steps, so that every day we will have a sense of accomplishment in having achieved this little step toward the overall goal. Vera says, she's going to begin to reach out to her extended family and show them and lead them in ways they can seek God first. I have kept them in my prayers, as many don't seek God, but I think I have given up hope with many of them. I need to be more active about continually seeking out opportunities to share God and His Word with them. Ooh, that's a mouthful. And that is, that nails it. That almost nails your feet to the floor. Put your feet to the fire and just get going, doesn't it, Vera? There, I love that. Look at that. She's going to make some phone calls and set up some coffee dates or tea times with family this week. Ooh, tea times. That brings me to another issue, another thing. When I was growing up, we used to have tea times at my place, at mom and dad's place. And what we did is we actually would invite some neighbors or whatever over, neighbors and friends over. And mom and the adults would have some tea and would talk, and the kids would go out and play. But some of those tea times would get really involved. For example, one year we had some friends of ours had what they called an exchange, and it wouldn't be an exchange student because he was like 30 or 40. But what it is one of they were members of a denomination, and one of their members from another country came over and spent time in the States with our friends. And this particular time, he was from the gentleman was from England, and so he spent like a couple months with the family, learning about America and its and how a farm operates, etc. And we invited him over, and he told us about tea in England, and some of the customs and stuff that goes on in England. And we had tea, we had scones, and it was just awesome. CJ thought I was going to put up another program. That'll come eventually. That'll come. But no, we gotta take the burden that we have, and then eventually, here when we moved, when Amy and I moved back down here, there for a while, Mother started a tea time in the congregation, and where she would have ladies of the congregation over until her health got too poor, and they would. They went from, basically, it was kind of a round robin. So one month it might be at our place, the next would be at mom and dad's, and the next would be and so they would have tea time where the ladies could talk and discuss Bible. And so that was a way that they had of one, drawing one another together in unity, as well as in instruction in righteousness, but also a way to share the gospel to the friends. And the kids got time to play and be active with our church family. So as well as other homeschool families as well. So, having done that, let's now go to God in prayer as we contemplate the lesson today. Vera says that's how Our Lady's Bible study started. We did a round robin until it became easier to switch to the building on Saturdays. uh, so let's go into prayer now, and we'll pray regarding our lesson today and be done. Bow with me. Our Father, God in heaven, you who created this world and all of the wonders and glories that we can see, your handiwork in everything about us, we come to you thanking you for showing us this great earth and how everything interacts with one another and how we interact with each other. We thank you for family, friends, wherein we can take comfort, we can take strength, we can give comfort and strength and help when needed to each other. We thank you for your word wherein we can grow in grace, in favor with you, in knowledge of your Son, of you, and of your will for us. Help us to each and every day be mindful of the ways in which we are carrying out your work. Help us to always seek more ways to spread your word, to spend time with your family, edifying one another, building each other up, and growing so that we may all reach heaven and be with you for our eternity. Father, we thank you for the suggestions and ideas that have been presented. We thank you for this lesson wherein we can study the life of Joseph and the life of Jesus, the way that you worked in their lives and how you work in our life today. Help us to be good servants, even though we are just simply unprofitable. We love you, Father, and we thank you for this opportunity. Help us to examine our thoughts and deeds that we may bring them into alignment with your will, that we are ready to submit to your will in all of our decisions. Help us to put you first, our others second, and ourselves last. Forgive us when we sin, when we fall short, and strengthen us, for we are weak. It is our prayer in Christ's name. Amen. I hope and that and pray that you all have been strengthened today. Take care. God bless, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Have a great rest of your day. God bless.